Spartan Sports Report. I'm Justin Allegri. San Jose State football falling to 1-8 overall this season after the loss on the road to the BYU Cougars. We'll recap that game with San Jose State head coach Brent Brennan and preview the matchup with the Aztecs of San Diego State this weekend inside CEFCU Stadium. Plus, a look at the Mountain West Conference women's soccer tournament with head coach Lauren Hanson. But first, let's go back to Provo for some highlights. Spartans on the road in a beautiful setting in a fall day in Provo, Utah to take on the Cougars. And Tanner Mangum would go to work early in this football game. That's Micah Simon. He would jump up to make the touchdown grab and make it a 7-0 start for the BYU Cougars at home. After a controversial play, a turnover ultimately called, then it was Mangum again going to his tight end Bushman for the score. It was very quickly 14-0. The Spartans, though, they did start to turn things on just a little bit in the first half. This is the first interception of the season for Dakari Monroe. In fact, his career as well, and Monroe off the tip gave the Spartans good field position. Spartans tried to attack with that field position, but this is the type of day it was. Nevins fumbles the exchange. Fortunately for San Jose State, he does recover it, and that will lead to a field goal try from Bryce Crawford, 48 yards away. Pretty much automatic for him with the way he's been going this season. That was up and good. Spartans were on the board, but it was about Nevins. Nevins would ultimately finish the day over 100 yards for the first time in his Spartan career. That was kind of an example of his fighting for yardage. Bryce Crawford would kick another field goal in that first half to give the Spartans 6 on the board, but it was just all BYU in this game, and they would go to KJ Hall a lot. Here he is for 75 of his yards on the afternoon, all the way in for the score. And BYU, who struggled scoring points entering the day, didn't seem like they were at home against San Jose State. Hall from 75 yards out. And then later on, it was an interception. Montel Aaron just trying to go deep and up top, overshot his target. It was intercepted, and BYU converted on some more points off of that turnover as well. Late in the fourth quarter, Spartans did score a couple of times. This one's to Trey Walker, fighting for the extra yards to get into the end zone, and the Spartans were into pay dirt for the first time. Then later, it was Trey Hartley, so Trey and Trey getting into the end zone for the Spartans. He's in for 6, but the Spartans ultimately go on to lose this one on the road in Provo, Utah, 41-20 the final score. Spartans now 1-8 overall this year. Of course, it was a non-conference game, so BYU not in a conference affiliate. They're 2-7 overall this season are the Cougars, 41-20 the final score. Montel Aaron, 25 of 39, 198 yards, a couple of touchdowns, and that interception. Tyler Nevins, I mentioned his first day going over 100 yards in his career in a Spartan uniform. He had 112 on the afternoon. Trey Walker had the touchdown grab, also had 6 receptions for 58 yards. KJ Hall, how about his day? 10 carries, 114 yards, and the score from 75 yards out. Micah Simon ended with 2 touchdowns for the Cougars. Tanner Mangum, he was a total of 18 of 34 for 283 and 3 touchdowns with the interception as well. But the Spartans do fall on the road, 41-20. We'll take our first break here on Spartan Sports Report. More to come after this.
Ready, Tim?
Let's do this. Was that Mike? That's Harry. The car stopped for me.
And that's automatic emergency braking.
The Nissan Rogue family. Take on today.
Bottom line, they still can't touch you.
I'll take it.
Get to Nissan, proud supporter of college athletics.
Welcome back here on Spartan Sports Report. We're now joined by the women's soccer head coach here at San Jose State, Lauren Hanson. And congratulations, Coach, the first Mountain West Conference regular season title here at San Jose State. And it's a long process, but you guys got through it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, no, I mean, anytime you can win a league title, that's, it's a huge accomplishment and for those girls and for our team and young women, I should say. But yeah, we're just really excited about it, and it's a grind of a season.
Yeah.
It's a tough conference to get through just because of all the travel and and competitive teams, and so we're happy where we're at.
Well, it's funny. I ask this question a lot of coaches after a loss, but in a congratulatory moment, what do you tell the team? Well, what is the message to the team after this culmination of a long, long road?
I think we're in a bit of a sticky situation because we've won the league, but we don't get to the automatic berth into the NCAA playoffs.
Right.
So you want to celebrate, and you obviously want to celebrate anytime you win something and you win a league. And so we did. And I said, celebrate now and be happy and, obviously be proud of yourselves for this huge accomplishment. But at the same time, we're going into the conference tournament and we need to win that to be able to go to the NCAA playoffs.
Right. Well, and you just had the senior day. So talk a little bit maybe about the seniors. I know that was the last time the Spartan fans will be able to see them at home, but talk about the seniors and the performance last weekend.
Senior day is always a special day, especially for these seniors. This is my 4th season here, and this is their 4th year, and really kind of they're the start of this program and turning it into what we want to turn into a dynasty here.
Yeah.
So, they're a special group. I love all those young women, and I'm fortunate to have had them for 4 years and been able to have them a part of our program.
Well, you mentioned the word dynasty, and Spartans won the tournament a couple of years back, and now 9 wins in conference play, which is a school record. So moving this program forward, this is kind of one of those cornerstone seasons for you guys, isn't it?
It really is. In 2015 we won it, and we had sheer heart and grit and all those things that come together. We had just great team chemistry. This year we have the same thing, more depth, I would say, this year, especially with our young players and our new players, and that's kind of been the key to getting 9 wins in a conference, so.
Well, let's talk us through maybe, I've had a lot of fans ask me, well, they have so many wins in conference, they have so many wins overall, their RPI is high, why isn't this a 2-bid conference? And it's kind of hard to explain, right? Because you have to go through the conference tournament, even if you win the regular season. So maybe talk us through the differences in different conference tournaments, whether they're B1 or not, and maybe why San Jose State is still having to get through the conference tournament to get to the NCAA.
Yeah, it's tough. You can look at it 2 ways, and there's some conferences like the Pac-12 or WCC who don't have a conference tournament. So the team that wins the league gets automatic berth into NCAAs. For us, we have to go to a conference tournament. It's the way all the coaches have voted. Personally, I would like to not have one, but it's majority rules.
Sure.
So, but with RPI, we are low. Last week we were 64. I think this week we're probably a little bit lower. Maybe I'm hoping to be in the 50s. And RPI matters. You need to be in the 40s, though, to be able to get an at-large bid. And so for us, kind of the next step in progression of our program is being able to do better with the results in the preseason play. If we would have won maybe 1 or 2 more games in our preseason play against, like a Santa Clara or even tied a Georgetown, who was ranked 10 at the time, we'd be sitting in the 40s probably right now and actually be able to get an at-large bid, and it wouldn't matter whether or not we won a conference tournament. So, for me, the way I look at it is you want to put your best team and your most consistent team in league play forward into the NCAA playoffs, and that's why I say, if you're number 1 in the league and you can prove that, then you should be able to go straight into the NCAAs and not have to play a team that you've already played again. But we're going to take it and we're going to run with it, and we're going to go and have this great experience in our conference tournament, and we're going to, continue to do well.
Down in Las Vegas is where the conference tournament will be. Now, you have the advance to the semifinals, so you don't know who you're going to play yet. It will be New Mexico or Fresno State. Is there a preference at this point in time? I know you beat New Mexico on the road, beat Fresno State just the last game here at home. So with those 2 teams, is there one you'd rather face than the other?
Oh, man, I don't know. I have respect for both those teams. Both of them, play good soccer. Both of them are competitive. Both of them are good programs and coached by, great individuals. And so for us, it just doesn't matter. We just take the next game 1 game at a time.
Right. All right, good stuff. That's Lauren Hanson, the head coach of the women's soccer team. They're heading down to Vegas for the Mountain West Conference Tournament. You can follow them on sjsuspartans.com. Thanks, Coach. Good luck.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right, we'll take another break here on Spartan Sports Report. More after this.
Honoring all-around excellence in men's and women's collegiate competition. Every division, every sport. The Learfield Directors Cup. The prestigious award continues its reign as the crowning achievement in college athletics. To follow your favorite team, like us on Facebook, find us online and on Twitter. The Learfield Directors Cup.
Welcome back here on Spartan Sports Report. We have a special guest in studio. It's Anthony Fenue, the CEO of Crowd King. You're the game sponsor this week. It's Tech Day against San Diego State. And first of all, let's just kind of get an overview of what Crowd King is and how you've become a part of San Jose State this weekend.
Yeah, so Crowd King is an enterprise software platform. Really, our goal is to create a platform for engagement across all levels of sports. Obviously, it's tough to get the younger age group involved, and we're all on our phones 24/7, and that's really our goal, is to integrate the two. So by doing that, we hope to get everybody more involved in the game.
It's so funny because whenever I do a college football game, I'm watching fans, and they're all on their phone, right? And I always feel like, how do you bridge that gap between letting them engage in the game and then somehow engaging their mobile device? Are you trying to do that with what Crowd King is?
Yeah, exactly. So it's experiences that bridge that gap. It's I want to be on my phone, but I want content that's helping me interact with the game, not just sitting on social media while I'm at an event. So that's our goal there.
How much engagement with college sports has the company done?
So right now we're predominantly in professional sports, and that's kind of one of our goals in working with San Jose State, is to push into college sports. Obviously, it's a different audience, and I think if we can hit that audience, there's a huge opportunity.
What was the genesis for this idea? How did you get it going? Why did you want to start it?
We're big sports guys, all the founders, everybody involved to this day. We have backgrounds from professional sports to college, all different levels. And we saw this problem firsthand. So having technology backgrounds, in addition to that, sports, really helped us put everything together, and we decided that this was something that we needed to do.
And you're mostly East Coast, but you're trying to branch out to the West Coast now?
Yeah, so we're lucky enough to have clients in both areas now, and I think across the country this hits every market. So that is where we are.
Well, one thing that Coach Brennan was talking to me about this week is just the excitement. We have this Powering the Silicon Valley event, the summit this weekend at San Jose State. You guys are a part of it. You have the STEM whole concept of trying to get student athletes, students involved in the technology scene. So maybe talk about a little bit how that relates to Crowd King.
Yeah, so that's kind of our bread and butter too, is we have sports backgrounds. We played in college at professional level, but without that STEAM background, we wouldn't have been able to put together what we did. So one of the big things is focusing on where the jobs are going to be, and that is the core.
So if fans are looking at this, they say, well, gee, I want to find out more about Crowd King. How can they do that?
Yeah, so we'll be putting out a San Jose State game day app, and one of the cool things is you'll get an idea of kind of the experiences that we can do. And from there, if you want to check it out, you can check it out on the website.
Crowdking.com?
Crowdking.io.
There we go. All right. And there's an app that you can download as well?
So every piece of software that we build is white labeled as the Teams app, but you can find our teams across our website.
There we go. Anthony Fenue. He's sponsoring the game against San Diego State this weekend, but he's in studio talking about Crowd King. Thanks so much for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Take another break here on Spartan Sports Report. More after this.
Ready, Tim?
Let's do this. Was that Mike? That's Harry. The car stopped for me.
And that's automatic emergency braking.
The Nissan Rogue family. Take on today.
Bottom line, they still can't touch you.
I'll take it.
Get to Nissan, proud supporter of college athletics.
Welcome back here on Spartan Sports Report. We're now joined by San Jose State head coach Brent Brennan. And Coach knew it was going to be a physical game at BYU, and I think definitely saw a physical game. We don't talk about the injuries here, but it certainly was evident that Spartans took a couple big blows in that game. Talk about the physicality that BYU brought.
You know, they did a good job. You know, Coach Sataki and that staff, that's always kind of been one of their calling cards, as being just physical, you know, grown men just trying to just pound you a little bit. You know, I thought our kids fought. You know, I really did. But obviously there were a couple things that, that we did in that game that we weren't able to overcome.
You talked about in your press conference today fixing the bad and talking about what things are going right for this team. Obviously the turnover number was a bad number in that game. What did you talk to about the team, and how do you try to reemphasize things week in, week out with guys that are struggling?
Yeah, no, that's the biggest challenge. I think, obviously our record is not what we want it to be, and so trying to get our team in the proper mindset so that we get the most out of a practice opportunity, we get the most out of an opportunity to get better. And so, kind of pushing that, talking about that a lot, understanding that with all the youth we have on the field right now, that there's going to be some mistakes.
Right.
There's going to be some things that we need to fix. And so Mondays are all about honest Mondays, and sometimes it's not real comfortable for everybody, but part of Honest Mondays is also talking about stuff we did good.
Sure.
And so, when a couple of young guys played well, and you saw some guys out there that hadn't played much for us, and so you gotta talk about the good stuff and celebrate the good stuff, and then also go right at the stuff that was negative and address it and work to get it fixed.
But Honest Mondays turns into a foundation for young players.
Right. Yeah, no question. And they all have a chance to kind of get recognized, in front of the team amongst their peers, which I think is important. And trying to get them to see, how close they are to being right, or how close they are for the outcome being different. When you look at the end result, sometimes you're like, wow, it just looked like a nightmare. And the things that happen through the course of a game are what make it into that nightmare. It doesn't just start that way.
Well, there were a lot of young players on the field. Ali'i was out there, and I think you used the term creative with the defensive line, and it has been just with everything going on. It's been shuffling players in and out with the defensive line.
Right.
Talk about that unit and who we saw out there, because at times it seemed like there were no down linemen, maybe one, maybe two, just a lot of change in the game.
Yeah, I think as we've gone through the season, we've had some guys that have gotten beat up a little bit, and so you have to be creative with who you have out there. And I think Coach Odom and the defensive staff is doing a really good job of putting guys out there, trying to give us the best chance to be successful against some of the teams we're playing. But yeah, we had, there were times I looked out there and we had 3 redshirt freshmen and 4 true freshmen playing, on one defense. And that's just a lot of young bodies. And so you're working hard trying to simplify the scheme, trying to make it so that they can execute it. Everything is changing, happening for them so fast because they're all young, and for some of them it's their first college football.
Well, and that's what you always talk about, the process. You're trying to be a process here. And when you have so many shifting positions, so many players maybe out of position, patience and process is the thing to focus on. So are you seeing progress within that realm?
Absolutely, and I think that's the hard part, right? Because, I'm competitive, you're competitive, everybody wants instant results, and so as you're going through a process like this, I thought it was interesting hearing the comments from Coach Campbell at Iowa State over the weekend. It kind of blew up on Twitter, and he talked a lot about the sacrifices his team's made, about them loving the process and then being prepared so that when the process is ready to love you back, you take advantage of it. It was really powerful.
Right. Well, Coach, there were a lot of positives in this game, and one of them was 11 different receivers for San Jose State. So I thought the Spartans, in terms of distributing the ball, getting some young guys involved, Montel kind of seeing things a little bit better, that was a positive in this game.
Absolutely. I think, the more we can distribute the football, I think the tougher we are to defend. As Montel continues to grow and get more repetitions and more opportunity to be in the game, at some point I hope it will continue to kind of slow down for him, so that he sees the game more clearly and he's able to distribute the ball more accurately. But he's fighting his tail off, and for him to hang in there and battle, and he took some shots now. He took some big time shots in that game. So I was really proud of him.
Well, in terms of slowing the game down, Tyler Nevins, it seems like it's slowing down even more and more, and he's really doing a great job at the running back position. And Laura Alexander's been a busy woman this year, the Spartan trainer.
She has.
But it seemed like Tyler twisted a knee or something like that, and it would look like a bad replay, and all of a sudden he's back on the field and he goes for over 100 yards for the first time in his career. So talk about his resilience.
Yeah, it was awesome. He's a tough kid, and it's so important to him, and I think we're going to get great performance and leadership out of Tyler as he grows and gets older. He took a shot. I ran out there. He seemed to be in a lot of pain, and I was kind of the same way. All of a sudden, I turned around, and he's running back out there. I was like, "Oh, good, Tyler's back."
Well, it's good to see from that. And Coach, on to this weekend. Obviously, San Diego State, another challenging opponent. Get to come home for the first time in a while. October 7th was the last home game, so it'll be nice to be back inside CEFCU Stadium.
Doubt. Well, being at home is always good. Being in front of our fans, and our kids get to play in front of their families, and then our students and our alumni and people that we're trying to get back, to be a part of Spartan football. So anytime we get to come home, it's exciting, and our players are fired up for it. Playing an opponent like San Diego State, hopefully the crowd will be excited to see them. They've been really successful. They've been one of the, most consistent, teams in our conference, probably over the last, 7, 8, 9 years. So I think, for us, we need to have a great week of practice and get ready for a big-time game.
It always is complexity with Rocky Long's offense and defense. Let's just first talk about the offense, and obviously Rashad Penny has done a tremendous job for them. But just preparing for what they bring in their offense, it's so different than anything else the Spartans see in a given year.
Right. In my mind, it's a lot like when I was at Oregon State and we were preparing for Stanford.
Right.
Every time you played Stanford, you knew it was going to be a real physical, downhill football game, kind of a pro-style running attack with fullbacks and tight ends and big bodies. And their plan is they want to run the ball straight at you. So it's a great challenge for our football team. It's a great challenge for the young players that have been thrust into action to step up and play against a big-time opponent. Well,
and Penny has been slowed down a couple times this year. Fresno State slowed him down really well. In San Diego, so did Boise State. What did you see maybe from those games that differed from other games where he succeeded?
I think those teams, both those teams are good defensively, and so they did a nice job of kind of attacking, what San Diego State did. And then the flip side of that is that both those teams ran the ball well in those games.
Sure.
And so they were able to control the clock and control the kind of the opportunities that San Diego State had to play on offense.
And looking at their defense, again, complexity, I think is the word. 3-3-5. He's kind of the godfather of that, right? You never really know where pressure's coming from. He always disguises it somehow.
Yeah.
And I see you smiling because it's so true, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So in that mindset, what do you do to prepare for something that you may not know is coming?
Right. I've played against Rockies teams multiple times. Recently at Oregon State, we played them twice, and that's the hard part. Your offensive front has to get used to hitting movement. They have to get used to, kind of being good with their eyes and seeing, one guy coming in. That means someone's coming out, and hopefully getting the protection directed the right way. So it's a great challenge for us. Rocky's been doing this a long time. He's an exceptional football coach. We have a ton of respect for them.
All right, Spartans here at home inside CEFCU Stadium this Saturday. Tickets are available, 408-924-7589 or sjsuspartans.com for the 7:30 kickoff against the Aztecs. That's the head coach, Brent Brennan. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks for having me.
Take another break here on Spartan Sports Report. More after this.
Honoring all-around excellence in men's and women's collegiate competition. Every division, every sport. The Learfield Directors Cup. The prestigious award continues its reign as the crowning achievement in college athletics. To follow your favorite team, like us on Facebook, find us online and on Twitter. The Learfield Directors Cup.
Ready, Tim?
Let's do this. Was that Mike? That's Harry. The car stopped for me.
And that's automatic emergency braking.
The Nissan Rogue family. Take on today.
Bottom line, they still can't touch you.
I'll take it.
Get to Nissan, proud supporter of college athletics.
Welcome back here on Spartan Sports Report. That does it for this week's episode. Once again, San Jose State returns home for the first time since October 7th inside CEFCU Stadium against the San Diego State Aztecs this Saturday at 7:30. Our coverage on 1590 AM KLIV and the Spartan Radio Network begins at 7 o'clock. Tickets are available over the phone by calling 408-924-7589 or visiting sjsuspartans.com. That does it for us this week. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.